Darren Magot is the CEO of Ault Alliance. Darren, I've known for a long time, 30 years, I think, close. We actually went to college together towards the end of our college years, and I trust him immensely. So Darren, why don't you take over the first few slides here?
Thank you, Todd. Thank you, JR and Amos. I'm sitting here looking at Amos's presentation, and I'm just thankful we have someone as detailed as him to keep track of all these different chargers, especially in EV. I know most of us struggle with which charger goes with which cell phone. So it's good to have him spearheading that, as well as JR and Tim. I know have done a lot of work creating relationships that are now ready to get gasoline poured on, and it'll be a successful and fun couple of years. I say that to position Ault Alliance, and we're the third leg in that stool under DPW's holding company model. I think you guys have seen names change and evolve, and I hope that demonstrates our focus on trying to make leverage efficiencies really, and make these companies work autonomously, yet when there's opportunities to work together, we take advantage of that. So when I talk about Ault Alliance, we're really a group of people that are empowered by digital. So we have a talented team, and it really is an alliance in the sense that it's a union that's been put together for the mutual benefit of the operating businesses and the investments that we oversee. And so we'll go through those investments, and I know we're long on time here, so I'm going to keep this short, 10 to 15 minutes. But we are leveraging a group of people that have experience and have been around and operated in each of these companies. And so we're leveraging their expertise, and we're focusing them in on near-term opportunities, near term. And I want to say that they were very focused on revenue. So the key is leverage digital and focus on revenue. I'm going to revisit those points as we go through these slides. So you can see that we have a fintech lending division, and we'll go into details on that on the next slide. We have online education and training. We have an e-commerce marketplace and platform. And then there's a number of investments that we're involved in that many of the folks on this call are familiar with. So let's go to the next slide and talk about the lending division. Now, the lending division was formed in 2016, so it's been around for a while. It's had a lot of success in putting together loans, both externally and intercompany, about $20 million worth, including a $10 million convertible loan to MTIX, which is Avalanche International, symbol AVLP, and prepares both commercial loans, and we're also entertaining or leveraging our license to create relationships beyond what we've done traditionally. So we have a group of folks focused on how can we generate more revenue here, what makes sense. And again, we're looking at the marketplace. So what we do is we take our resources and we focus them in on opportunities in the marketplace. We leverage their strengths, and we generate revenue. Let's go to the next slide. I should say it's very rare to have the fintech license, so it's a great opportunity for us to stand out against competition as well. I would say, Darren, one of the things we should add to that is that license is really a development of future partnerships too. And so we are looking at hard in terms of the fintech space of partnering with other mortgage companies, because we have a lot of lead generation there. So the unique part of that thing being digital is that there's a small team there, and it can become profitable very quickly. And because we're an all digital platform, the overhead is obviously controlled in a big way. So we have a lot of hedge funds and other lenders that we partnership for direct lending opportunities. We are awaiting the state to approve a brokerage license for us there. So we have some things we have to work on there. But the experiments we've had to sell to lending to public companies has worked out really, really well. And so I can emphasize that in 2000, sort of here and beyond, we expect the lender to continue to contribute profits over time. That's something we're pretty excited about. Sorry about that, Darren. That's right. No, there's great market opportunities, Todd. Thanks for emphasizing that. And then part of what the team's been doing over the last, 24 months, really, as I mentioned here in the bullet point, is create content. So we have a strong group that's familiar with how to create content, and now we're leveraging that ability for online education and training. And because of COVID, there's been a shift to that in a dramatic way. And there also is a tendency for those that are post-college or post-education, traditional education, to go back to online training, online courses to further their career, better understand how to grow their business, how to take their companies public. And so we're putting the team focused around different offerings, and we expect some revenue growth in Q4 and beyond especially with education and training. So we're going to look for that to ramp up in 2021, especially. You want to add anything there, Todd?
I would say that the great part about this business is we were already working on it pre-COVID. It is now something that we're accelerating. We have developed, I think, a few thousand. I mean, I don't know. Joe's sitting next to me, so let me ask the question: how many hours do you think we've developed of content so far?
It's a couple thousand.
A couple thousand. So I think the monetization path there, which people don't know about, the sort of secret that we have at DPW through the Alliance business, is that that's really high margin revenue for us. It's reoccurring, it's evergreen. And for example, YouTube, those checks will only grow over time, and the other social platforms we're leveraging are going to generate real margin. And I think that when that gets to scale, that'll be really exciting. We'll get a different kind of multiple around that margin. We expect this to be a very big growth category for us in the fourth quarter and beyond. COVID has just emphasized this. We've all went digital, our whole entire team. Like Ken's been working from home. JR's had to work from home, but it's really worked for us. And it's a strange digital impact that I just did not expect to have happen for us. So I'm super excited that we're well positioned here. I think that will be really incremental revenue. One of our goals, and I want to emphasize this is just a goal, but we want this business to cover our entire corporate overhead. We're hoping in a couple years, we can generate enough revenue here and enough margin where our entire holding company revenue is covered, and we cover all of our overhead there. And then ultimately the other subsidiaries we have are where we ramp our profit. But this is something that I'm pretty excited about. We're behind the scenes here. We're doing it, but we already have thousands of hours of content, and it's growing. I think we have grown in subscribers and other things by the thousands, and we don't have anything to report yet, but when we do, it'll be substantial.
It really is one of those things where you do the work and then you reap the benefits. And that is sort of the spirit. I mentioned revenue, but these are high revenue opportunities. So when they do come together, there's typically multiple sources of revenue that are generated. And then they're high margin revenue. So let's move to the next slide where that's further emphasized.
You know, it's funny, Darren, I was thinking earlier about what I would say about this. And with that one of our partners through TikTok, I never thought that TikTok would be something that would become so important to what we're doing here. But some of our I guess we'd call them some of the talent on our network coming from TikTok, we ultimately think is the TikTok platform, as long as it survives, will ultimately end up helping drive some of that e-commerce revenue. And it's an interesting dynamic happening with all that's going on. So
it really is. And we're a small team, so we're forced to work smarter and leverage people that have experience in a space like TikTok to drive traffic, or Instagram. And so we're doing that whenever possible. E-commerce, because of the change in retail, especially this year, is such a great opportunity. Again, high margin. We leverage channel partners, so people that have contacts with luxury brands, and we bring those to our network, which we've already created. And so some people might say, how do you shift into an e-commerce business, especially fashion business? But, as you mentioned, we've known each other for 30 years and the team's been around for a long time and has had exposure in a number of different areas with our investments, building platforms, even with our investment within MTIX. You get involved with the fashion industry, we make contacts. And so we're leveraging those opportunities to, again, work smarter.
And this business, people need to know, is live right now. Even though it's powered by Shopify, and that truly ultimately we think will end up being a partnership with them because they'll run the back end like they do for Kylie Jenner and others. You didn't drone on too long, Jerry. You did great, buddy. Sorry, a little informal. This platform is up and live. We expect to have about 1,000 SKUs by the end of October. And we already know we have those 1,000 SKUs, so I can really say we'll have about 1,000 SKUs by the end of October. We don't do the delivery here. We do not handle the fulfillment. It is not It is not the traditional drop shipping operation that people think. This is a partnership relationship where someone comes on. We've only taken on one channel partner because we want to grow carefully, I think Darren would say. So
manage that growth, right?
Yeah, manage that growth. But this is a great business for us because we started on it a year and a half ago, and it just went live recently. And we think that this is going to add a lot of potential revenue, a lot of margin. We operate really as a technology margin where we provide the platform for sellers, especially sellers that don't necessarily want to be on Amazon and give up so much control. But this is a story to be told for the future.
Yeah, and if you look at the marketplace, it's overwhelming. $525 billion market. And at first you might think, okay, so there's a lot of opportunity, but there really is a way to do it correctly to make your footprint in this space. And so we're taking our time to do it right, to engage with the right partners, to market correctly and leverage some tools that we believe we have more experience than others in, specifically social media and influencer promotions. And so we'll report more throughout Q4 and into the new year. Let's move to the next slide, please.
That's a sleeper. This business is a sleeper. I predict it's a sleeper for the business. People aren't paying attention to it. I think this is something that's a sleeper for DPW and ends up being a great investment long-term. That's my prediction.
Great. And the last category is an area where we focus a lot, and we're proud of the investments we've made over the years. Some categories that are, again, leading edge categories with biotech and Alzheimer's and neuro, and encourage you to read as much as you can about that. There's some near-term opportunities developing there that we'll report on. We get into sandstone investments within the healthcare space. Material science, MTIX is looking for, as Will mentioned at the beginning of the conference, is positioned to really take off with the right funding. And so we're working to direct funding around their efforts, as well as real estate. We've gotten involved with the 456 Lux Hotel. They built a really good foundation there, and it's starting to emerge in that city. It takes a lot of work. They had to cut through a lot of red tape, but we're going to see that investment come together as they move towards finishing up the hotel at the end of 2021, early 2022 because of the delay.
I think the problem there, Darren, is people think hotels and COVID's pretty bad, and it is. But we think once this is over and there's a vaccine, the ones that survive will thrive. This will open up sometime in 22, and we'll be on the back end of this whole COVID mess, and hopefully the hotel will benefit. It is a beautiful hotel.
Yeah, and really that's the beauty of DPW Holdings, is the diversification and the way we are able to position ourselves to respond to changes. Let's move to the last slide in the interest of time and talk a little bit about real estate here. I'm jumping to the second bullet point because, to Todd's point, there are some areas that have been impacted. You heard us mention the data center when we were working with digital farms, and commercial real estate has taken a hit when you look at office space, but we've seen a dramatic increase in the need for warehouse space because of the online e-commerce space and 5G and the need for access to power. So we are still pursuing very actively, and we might be able to announce something soon regarding a data center with access to a large power. So don't think that's gone away. It's like fashion. Todd mentioned he's excited about the revenue that he sees developing there and growing. I hinted to the fact that lending is going to stretch beyond what we've done in the past traditionally and reach out to referral services and more consumer focused. And then this training and licensing I think is a sleeper as well. So these are the key areas of future growth. We'll be leading with those as we move forward to the next conferences. And that really summarizes it for now.
Hey, Darren, you and I get a lot of question about Bitcoin, and that caused us a lot of pain. You, as you know, caused us pain with bank accounts, being a
Sure.
Bitcoin miner. Obviously, we still have the miners. They're not efficient like they used to be, but we do believe that we learned from Bitcoin that data centers matter. And so I think everyone needs to pay attention to the fact and be looking for our entrance into the data center space. I think Darren's identified a wonderful opportunity there. And if we're able to pull that off, we will be able to do high density compute, and we will have a lot of power. Darren, maybe you could talk about the potential power we would have if we're able to conclude that transaction.
Sure, there's very few facilities and even data centers that have as much power that we'll have access to at this site. And that bodes well for traditional data centers, which are overwhelmed right now because of all the cloud storage needs, especially with the Zoom calls that are all being recorded and the number of photos and videos that are being uploaded. So data center is really a growing space. I mentioned the warehouse space. So it's a mixed use property, and it's already wired for 29 megawatts of power. And it has a electrical plan to go up to as much as 300 megawatts, which would be incredibly huge. It's located in an area that is very attractive to many companies for a number of reasons. And so I really hope that we can bring that together and report back in more detail on that.
Yeah, there's no assurance that that deal will get done, but we're going to work hard to try to make that happen. We've been working on it for a while, but that we still care about. I mean, I think a migration to data for us has been pretty important. So,
yeah, 5G as well. You know.
Yeah. So you know, we obviously we're trying to work on the third leg of the company is really a digital strategy, and we're really focused on that. I think we have a great team that's worked at figuring this out over the last couple of years. So with that in mind, Darren, do you want to have any closing comments here?
No, I think we should move to Q&A.
Appreciate that.